Vicky? Eve, are you alright? This place is dangerous. Take my hand.
Stellar Blade has been garnering heavy success on Steam, so much so that it has actually outsold games like God of War, Spider-Man,
It's time for a Miles Morales original, you know? One of one. That shit's ass, bro.
and The Last of Us.
They're planning on leaving the city, but they need a scapegoat.
A theory for why it has sold so well is the rampant sexualization by modders and the Steam community as a whole. This has had me thinking about the term Gooner game. I played Stellar Blade last year around November and thoroughly enjoyed it. I primarily focused on the combat and exploration, but I'd be lying if the customization of Eve's character didn't also pique my interest. The risque nature of a lot of her outfits is very obvious, but is that inherently a negative mark on the game? Is having an attractive main character a negative drawback? I personally don't think so. At the same time, I do know that games featuring a female lead tend to be overly sexualized. I enjoy playing a game when my character is sick, and Stellar Blade is no exception, but unlocking an outfit like this makes me cringe. When cool outfits like this can show off Eve's great figure without being too sexual. There is no problem with having a sexy or provocative character, but I think playing it up tenfold to appeal to players who bought the one-handed DualShock is too on the nose. Stellar Blade isn't where this problem came to a head. For as long as character models have existed, people have been crying sex appeal to news outlets and demonizing attraction even when it's clearly unnecessary. Nintendo led the front lines by making the main character of Metroid a woman in a skin-tight plug suit straight out of a 90s mecha anime. I love you, Evangelion. I doubt in the minds of many, Metroid is thought to be a Gooner game, or even a remotely sexual game. Despite that, in the original Metroid you were able to beat the campaign in faster intervals to see Samus in a more revealing outfit during the ending screen, ranging from a full power suit all the way down to a bikini. While this isn't inherently a bad thing, it may have started a trend of sexualizing female characters who have no business being portrayed that way. Speaking of bikinis, another franchise that capitalized on the Gooner mentality is After the successful releases of Dead or Alive 1, 2, and 3, Team Ninja decided to use a majority of the female roster to make While the original intrigue of the franchise was beating your opponent to a bloody pulp, this sequel primarily focuses on playing volleyball, pool, and gambling, all while wearing skimpy swimsuits. I know personally I don't play fighting games, but despite that, the name Dead or Alive was always known to me because of this scandalous spin-off. Many games had their fair share of suggestive controversies, like the mythical hot coffee Easter egg in San Andreas, the tub scene of Dishonored, and how can anyone forget our favorite naked blue hologram? An argument to be made is that a Gooner game is when you cannot ignore the sexual themes that are readily apparent. I can't think of many mainstream games you can't fully ignore or avoid the sexual themes, barring Saints Row. That being said, one game, despite having little to no sexual theming, stands above the rest with unjust accusations. Ever since I was a child, I can distinctly remember the conversation around Tomb Raider's Lara Croft. For many young boys and hormonal teens, she became so captivating because she was their first introduction to media that had boobs in it. But really, having a couple of pyramids under a blue tank top is more interesting than a treasure hunter fighting dinosaurs in ancient ruins? I'm not so sure. But in order to pull away from that type of Gooner mindset in the reboot, you can clearly see them step away from any revealing outfits while keeping her beauty intact. Throughout the reboot, it is a much grittier and more grounded experience than the originals. Seeing Laura take extreme injuries and survive torturous conditions takes any sexualized ideas about the character right out of your mind. Even still, people have used the phrase Gooner game about Tomb Raider because she is a female lead. Comparatively, when playing through the Uncharted series, I don't think the majority of people are going, "Damn, Drake got that shit on him!" But for some reason, while Laura is doing the same, if not more intense exploration, they are drawn to her curves instead of her character. In my eyes, the only thing that sets these two adventures apart are the witty jokes and the gooners who stroke. Is there something to be said about the people who consume games media? For when a woman has no sexual provocation, the games get gooner accusations. Meanwhile, a woman who flaunts her sexuality doesn't even get the term tossed her way. When Bayonetta was released in 2009 on 7th generation consoles, it took the world by storm with both strong reception and extreme demonization, which is ironic considering the plot of the game. Bayonetta is a witch that uses her overt sexuality in tandem with magic to kill demons, monsters, angels, and other magical and supernatural entities. When people talk about Bayonetta, the primary discourse is about how the games lean into sex appeal and how she walks the line of perversion and being a sexual icon. Many people in the queer community have used Bayonetta as an empowering symbol for sexual freedom and not living as though the enjoyment of sex is something to be ashamed or afraid of. Bayonetta is also incredibly strong in her realm of fiction, showing that you can be hot and a heavy hitter. When she's not flaunting her curves and glamorous attire, she's constantly shown throwing down with the strongest and coming out on top. Most people don't associate Bayonetta with the Gooner game tag despite its overt sexual themes, because it's not used in a way for perversion or pleasure, but rather for empowerment. Having a main character that uses eroticism in their body language and demeanor isn't uncommon. A lot of people in the gaming landscape talk about Dante from Devil May Cry in the same vein as Bayonetta, happily expressing desire and attraction without feeling forced or perverse. For an example of that overly gratuitous sexual theme, we can actually use DMC, the Devil May Cry reboot that crashed and burned for playing up the edgy millennial humor and genuinely making most people uncomfortable.
So you must be the secret ingredient.
Who are you?
On your prom date, you ugly sack of shit.
I'm 1,200 years old.
You don't look a day over 12,000.
Fuck you!
Fuck you!
Fuck you!
You're dumped.
Good God, that is rough to watch. There's just no class and it feels like a 60-year-old trying to fit in with a bunch of high schoolers, whereas something like the cheese and sexual tension of Devil May Cry 3 feels so right.
Well, this is my kind of rain. No wonder the sky looks so funny today.
Let me go!
Let you go? But it would be a waste if you ended up as just a pretty stain. If you're asking for a date, forget it. Because I make it a point not to go out with women who shoot me in the head.
Date a demon? I'm not that desperate.
I'll take care of him.
If more game devs took the time to properly express erotica in a way that was honest and good-natured, we wouldn't have people throwing around the term Gooner game. But if we're real with ourselves, there is a problem of games injecting Gooner bait into modern media that truly don't deserve it. I'd like to take a look at two quotes from some of my close friends, in complete contrast to each other, despite both of these people playing and consuming similar types of media. On one hand, N says, games are only Gooner games if you make them Gooner games. While E says, if you are questioning if the game you play is a Gooner game, it probably is. Both of these mindsets have a seat at the discussion, and I'd like to take a deeper dive into both views. Starting with N's quote, it is true that if you play a game and see no sexual attraction or erotic value, then inherently you cannot classify it as a Gooner game. But on a higher level, what I take from this is something more along the lines of, maturity determines the provocation in media. As a child, when you see something like exposed breasts or genitals, you might get uncomfortable and equate that to sexual proclivity. But there is nudity in games like Outlast, Rust, and The Forest, and I wouldn't say that these games lean into any sort of lewdness. The nudity is there for the sake of the game's aesthetic. Even games that have intercourse aren't necessarily classified as Gooner games, such as Baldur's Gate 3, Witcher 3, and Cyberpunk. They all foster what you could describe as Gooner game tendencies, but that isn't the focal point of the game in the slightest. This type of misidentification is also coming to a head with the recent reveal of GTA 6. With jiggle physics and ass shots being littered in the trailer, some people's perspectives are being painted in a more erotic light, but I believe more people play GTA for the fun absurdity of Rockstar's superb storytelling, rather than the sexual theming.
I admit, I kinda got a little angry.
Did you kill him?
What kind of fucking animal do you take me for? No, I didn't kill him.
Oh, fuck.
But I did kidnap his wife. Oh, no.
In the end, N may be right. If you think what you're experiencing isn't a Gooner game, then it won't be. At the same time, E makes a great point. Having to worry about the lewd misconception of media you consume should make you question the nature and intent of the creator. Many games, rather than being straight up Gooner games, would be more reasonably attributed to the term Gooner bait, meaning there is a core to the game, but sexually charged skins, characters, and themes are thrown in to get the attention of those who are driven by arousal. I think you can reason E's quote to mean, if you have to play a game worried someone's going to catch you, then it's probably perverted. A recent example I have is watching the trailer for The First Descendant. The plethora of erotic shots and angles during the trailer had me believing it was some type of Gooner game. Now I haven't played this game, so I'm not sure if it actually is worthy of the title Gooner game, but by the nature of marketing, I still believe my point stands. The same can be said for many mobile game ads. The gameplay or story of these games may not be sexually charged, but in order to capture the audience, they use sexual themes to bait a new customer. It is, of course, an entertainment industry slogan that sex sells. Many people describe this as a bad thing, but I'm not so sure. If something so natural as attraction is bad or wrong, wouldn't there be more people up in arms to defeat a growing issue when it comes to games and media as a whole? Maybe they are, and maybe we should start to listen. Women in games aren't the only victim. Many male protagonists in games are treated the same way by the female audiences and should definitely be looked into as well. Geralt, Leon Kennedy, Cloud, and countless League of Legends characters are all subjected to the same level of sexualization, and yet no one seems to be upset about it. In the introduction to The Witcher 3, Geralt is shown to the player naked in a bathtub, even getting what seems to look like his dong groped by a creature that Yennefer summons. Do I think this is a bad thing? No, I believe it suits the game's mature theming. But, if the positions were switched and Yennefer was in the tub, would there be an outcry over sexualization? I think it's a definite possibility. In a different vein, the men of
Resident Evil
are often thirsted over, and they are just out here killing nightmare fuel. Yet somehow, every other day I manage to find Leon Kennedy, Chris Redfield, or even Wesker in a TikTok edit bumping Farbin.
I expected more of a challenge after all this time, Chris. How disappointing.
7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I can spare to play with you. Here I am offering you my precious time, and you waste it by running around.
I think the sexualization of these characters comes from the masculine but kind energy that they radiate. While they kick a zombie halfway across Raccoon City, they also hold the hand of a small child and lead them into safety. Alright, so normally I record with the script, and I want to go off script for a second. Because this is a thought I just had, and I don't feel like writing it out. Potentially, the reason that these Resident Evil characters are so heavily sexualized is because women are looking for, and this is it. I'm not a woman, so I'm just saying this. Women are looking for more of a empathetic type of man, and when they see a hot, strong, muscular guy who also happens to be I'm fighting for the good of humanity, and I don't fuck around with being evil, except for people fuck with Wesker because he's just sexy. I don't know. But Leon and Chris and Carlos and all these Resident Evil MCs, they're oh my god, he's so fine, but also he's so kind. I don't know. Whereas dudes look at girls and he's I don't know, big titties and some fat ass or something. Dude brain is so fucking duh. But lady brain is I need kindness and empathy. I don't know. Maybe that's just something to think about. Tangent over. I wouldn't say these games are Gooner games in the slightest, but it is interesting that when there are attractive males, the term Gooner game rarely comes up. Maybe the reason is because male nudity or sexualization tends to be played off as a joke instead of being used erotically. I would like to do a deeper dive into what brought this topic into my mind by comparing Stellar Blade with what many people believe is a superior and original product, Nier Automata. Let's start with a quick story synopsis for both games. In Nier Automata, you start the game as an android called 2B with her companion 9S. During the game, you begin to uncover secrets behind the true mission of saving humanity, only to learn that the humans are no longer around and the group that you're working for are the true aggressors. You fight back against the group, losing some of your friends along the way, eventually leaving an ambiguous ending with the fate of the people and the planet up in the air. Throughout the game, you use explosive, fast-paced combat and open-ended exploration to upgrade your character and get stronger, discovering new bosses and enemies with each new area that you explore. Now let's talk about Stellar Blade. You start the game as an android called Eve and get two companions, Adam and Lily. During the game, you begin to uncover secrets about the true mission, saving humanity, only to learn that humans are no longer around, and the group that you're working for are the true aggressors. You fight back against the group, losing some of your friends along the way, eventually leaving an ambiguous ending with the fate of the people and the planet up in the air. Throughout the game, you use explosive, fast-paced combat and open-ended exploration to upgrade your character and get stronger, discovering new bosses and enemies with each new area that you explore. If you've been paying attention, I'm being intentionally repetitive just to show how similar the story beats and gameplay truly are. The games do have their fair share of differences though. Nier has you switching between characters, there are vastly different combat styles, and Stellar Blade doesn't offer any ship combat or perspective shifts. The thing that majorly sets these two apart though, is the customization. While Nier Automata has gotten its fair share of flack for having a character that wears a somewhat risque outfit, you really can't change it too much in-game. Whereas Eve's character is fully customizable, and often you are encouraged to do so and rewarded with outfits or other customization options for exploring. This is where the main contrast and debate comes into play. Is the customization in Stellar Blade to a point of over-sexualization? Does it Goonerify the game? I think yes and no. Like I said earlier, a Gooner game is when you cannot ignore the sexual themes that are readily apparent. But in this game, customization is entirely optional. It is encouraged, yes, but you do not have to engage with it. If you choose to play this game as an action-adventure with no customization, that is entirely up to you. But I do want to address there is 100% an argument to be made that there's a shit ton of Gooner bait to get people to buy this game, which I think is really annoying. The outfits here could be way cooler instead of sexier, and I think more people, myself included, would enjoy it more. At the end of the day, we all like to see hot or sexy characters in our games, but let's be real, we don't need to be playing all of our games one-handed. Let's keep the horny shit in the bedroom and out of my Fortnite lobby. Thank you everybody for making it to the end here. If you don't agree, and you think, everything needs to be sexualized, let's give Pac-Man a huge pair of boingas on him. Well, you can take what I say, and just remember, I'm joking. If more game devs took the time to properly express erotica in a way that was honest and good-natured... Fuck! Try that again. If more people... Fuck! That's not what I want to say. If more... Fuck! Okay, hold on. If more game devs took the time to properly express erotica in a way that was honest and good-natured, we wouldn't have to... Fuck! Fuck, I can't get it! Okay, hold on. Well, I can snip those together. With jiggle physics and ass shots being littered in the trailer, some people are painting the perspective in more of an erotic light, but I believe people play GTA for the fun absurdity of Rockstar's to... Fuck you, motherfucker. Okay. In the introduction to The Witcher 3, Geralt is shown to the player naked in a bathtub, even getting what seems to be his Fuck. Oh, this is gonna be hard. Whew. In the introduction to Witcher 3, Geralt is shown to the... Fuck. Okay. Gotta do some warm-up exercises. Oh! Spider-Man! Spider-Man, help! Okay, I think we're good.